This is the 2015 Audi Q3. A very nice looking vehicle, I think. Now this is marketed as an SUV, and I'm telling you it's really not. Now let me explain. If you're driving off the pavement and you're running into big rocks like this, you need ground clearance. And if you have soft dirt and sand and gravel like this, you need four-wheel drive traction. And for that you usually need either a pickup truck or an SUV. But some people don't want to drive SUVs or trucks. They want to drive a car. But they still need the ground clearance to avoid rocks and the traction on soft stuff like this. So what Audi has done here is they've taken a basic car body on the top half, run SUV mechanicals such as ground clearance and all-wheel drive on the bottom half. By the way, you can get this in front-wheel drive only, but the all-wheel drive for more traction is optional. Instead of SUVs, most of these type of vehicles are marketed as SAVs, for sport activity vehicle instead of sport utility vehicle. That's basically the difference, although the internet really hasn't gotten the message. Now Audi's not the only company that's put a car body on an SUV chassis. Here's the Honda Cross Tour that I tested last year. Same principle. There's also the BMW X6, which has the same concept and execution. Now this concept works great in terms of this Audi because what you have is a fancy German car that you can take down to the country club and park next to the other fancy German cars. Yeah, on weekends you can take it off-road in the snow, the mud, maybe some desert trips, because you have the ground clearance and the traction. Although you do have to be careful. Remember, this isn't a Jeep Wrangler. It's still basically a car. And like I said, this is a very nice looking vehicle from the front. Nothing special from the side view. And it definitely looks like an Audi from the rear. A performance exhaust system. Sort of. Now under the hood we have the Volkswagen/Audi 2-liter turbo putting out 200 horsepower hooked to an automatic transmission. This is a very lively, proven power plant that gets 20 to 28 miles per gallon in all-wheel drive or 20 to 29 in front-wheel drive. That's the good news. The bad news is we're pulling a lot of weight here. Around 3,400 pounds in front-wheel drive and around 3,700 in all-wheel drive. Those are approximate figures, by the way. But it's still heavy. Very heavy. Now this automatic transmission has 6 speeds and you have 3 modes. Fully automatic, sport automatic, where it stays in lower gears longer, and manual shifting. But regardless of what mode you use in the gearbox, this vehicle is kind of sluggish when you're getting from a stop sign. It takes a while to pick up speed. Nice brakes though. Very comfortable ride, great for long trips. And I wouldn't call this a sports sedan because of the high ground clearance, but it still takes corners quite well. Great on back twisty roads, by the way. Now let's see how these headlights do in the dark. They're a bit on the tiny side, so I'm not expecting much, but we'll see. Now at high beam we're putting out lots of light, especially on the side here. Low beam, bright light, but lots of cutoff, a little bit too short. Okay for city driving, but on backcountry roads this isn't going to work. You need to keep your brights on. Let's look at this again up close. Once again the brights are putting out lots of light, and you can see how quick this cuts off at close range on low beam. Again, on back roads, especially where there's wildlife and animals roaming around, you need the brights on this vehicle. You know, some people like silver paint on their Audis. I don't. No wipers. Don't come on. You. Oh, good. I'm going to lose my wipers. Well, I think I turned the wipers off finally. Assuming they're still there. Oh, but we're nice and clean again. Too bad this Audi doesn't have a backup camera. Or I wouldn't have backed up into this pole. I think Audi's going to be a little upset with me. Alright Audi, I'm just kidding. This was done by a drunk last night. Your car's fine. April Fools. Actually, this video was done on April 1st, by the way. Now getting inside, I was happy to see that the door comes all the way to the bottom. That way you're not getting dirt on your pants when you're getting in and out. This stays clean, and it's narrow, so your pants doesn't rub on it anyway. Very good, thank you. And the cabin isn't as fancy as some of the upgraded Audis, but will do. Most of the controls are very simple, easy to use. Materials are sturdy enough. Now apparently this panoramic sunroof is standard equipment. Fine if you're driving in a cool climate. Unfortunately, when the sun's coming down on you, all you have is this thin screen protecting you from the solar blast, and I don't know why Europeans do this. This does not keep the heat out. I think I'm going to have to get some aluminum foil and coat this up. But this seems to be popular in European cars, and this is what we get. Great if you live in Alaska, not so great if you live in the desert. Now last time I checked, the two-wheel drive started around $32,500. The four-wheel drive like this was $34,600, and we get charged $550 for this metallic gray paint, $1,900 for navigation, off-road design wheels $800, power tailgate $400. It all comes to $39,175. You know, in a week of driving this car, the only real complaint I had, aside from maybe a burned head from that sunroof, was the lack of power. And it's just too bad they don't have the 290 horsepower engine in this yet. Now that would be really great. I find this Audi to be a bit pricey, but actually the type of sports activity vehicles, as we call them, with the car on top and SUV on the bottom, there are only very few to select from, and actually none of them are cheap. So I suggest if you're looking for that type of vehicle, try this out. It might fit your needs.
Deutschlands populärstes Auto, der Volkswagen, geht im großen Examen für seinen Besitzer mit Temperament durchs Feuer. Einmal in Zeitlupe. Diese Prüfungen werden nicht aus artistischen Gründen gemacht, sondern die privaten Nachahmung nicht unbedingt zu empfehlen. Aber wie man sieht...